Hey, this is Chris from Rekkid Talk doing another vinyl finds. I buy old Rekkids edition. So I got some old and new records. They're all little records this time. So this is going to be all 7 inches. And again, these were all bought online. The first one, which I'll admit is a blind buy that ended up being kind of a miss. This is from Third Man. This is the Tanzania Albinism Collective. And so basically this is a group of musicians who are all albinos. Apparently they face a lot of discrimination. And so side A is called White African Power, We Live in Danger. Side B is called Stigma Everywhere. It was one of those things that I thought it sounded really cool as a concept. It's really not that great, so but I have it. Then I got some old indie rock here. So some late 80s, early 90s stuff. So I'm sporting my Blake Babies t-shirt, and we have some Blake Babies here. Ladies with an Attitude. This is an Australian release. I didn't import it from Australia, somebody else did. It's on this pretty cool purple vinyl. It's kind of it's in a sense, it's sort of a mini best of collection because it has I'm Not Your Mother on one side, and it has, if we rotate this the right way, it actually has 2 songs on the other side, Cesspool and Rain. So these are songs off of both the Earwig and Sunburn albums. So this is kind of a neat thing. And then the back is Fellas That Were in the Mood. So that's a pretty cool little bit of stuff to have. And then a really cool, quirky little indie rock band from New England. They originated in New Hampshire, kind of were based in Boston. Ed's Redeeming Qualities. So this is a little mini EP with 4 songs on it at 33 1/3. Walk Again, Lawn Dart, My Apartment, and The Boy I Work With. And they were noted for being kind of a naive band. Instrumentation really simplistic. The songs were kind of about sort of almost Monday, everyday things, but they were charming and catchy in sort of an innocent way. It's featuring acoustic guitar, ukulele, sometimes violin. The quote-unquote drummer would play bongos and shake a coffee can full of rice. I'll probably talk about them in more detail in a video in the future. Ed's Redeeming Qualities. Got some Unrest here. So this is Yes, She Is My Skinhead Girl on one side, and then a couple songs on the other side, Hydroplane and whatever the other one was called. So this is on Teen Beat Records. So we've been talking about the Umbrellas recently, a new band from San Francisco, but that kind of reminded me of sort of this teen beat indie pop from the early 90s. So Hydroplane and Feeling Good Fixation. Yes, She Is My Skinhead Girl. This is the lyric sheet that came along with this 7-inch record. I don't think you see that all that often. Then I have another Unrest. This one was released in conjunction with Teen Beat on Sub Pop, part of the Singles of the Month Club for, I think, March of 91. So it's got 2 songs at each side, Death, UFO, Sex Machine, and When It All Comes Down. And it's called a factory record because these were all covers of obscure English bands from the Factory label. Maybe Rob Walker probably would know some of this stuff. And then finally, we've got, and I haven't even played this yet, so this is Teen Beat 100. So this is 10 songs on 7 inches. And you're wondering, how in the heck can you get a full album's worth of songs on a 7-inch record? Well, it's 33 RPM, and the songs are all about a minute to a minute and a half long. 10 different bands. Most of them I've never heard of before. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of go through them one at a time, and I'll pause, I'll play it, and I'll come back with a quick synopsis. So again, sort of kind of this cool label. So there's side A. That's the name of the 5 bands on side A. So the first band is called Blast Off Country Style. The song is going to be called Wiener Dude Attitude. And I'm just reading this off of Discogs. This is a quirky quartet, a bunch of geeks from Washington, D.C. Started off in 1992. So I'm going to go listen to it. I'll come back and tell you about it. All right, so I listened to Wiener Dog Attitude by Blast Off Country Style. It's kind of what you would expect. A bunch of nerdy indie pop college girls making a silly song about hot dog, buying hot dogs. So the next song is by a group called Eggs, formed by Scaly Andrew leader Andrew Bojan when he was living in Richmond, Virginia, attending Virginia Commonwealth University. They're perhaps the only band to ever mix horns successfully with indie pop. So we'll see about that. Their song is called Baked Alaska, so I'm going to go listen to it. Well, that was interesting. So basically, they read a recipe for Baked Alaska. There was some horns. I don't know if it was very successful. The third song is actually by a group I've heard of called Tsunami. They were from Arlington, Virginia, with Jenny Toomey and Kristen Thompson. And they were, after Unrest, they may have been the most well-known of the teen beat bands. And so they have a song called Brick Book Building. Go listen to it. All right, so I listened to that Tsunami song, Brick Book Building. Basically, it's like a song fragment. It's like they had a couple of verses, but not really a full-length song. The next song's by someone named Butch Willis. Let's look up Butch Willis. Very little information about Butch Willis on Discogs. A song called Falling in Love, which is a grand total of 38 seconds long. So I'll be back soon. Well, that 38 seconds of Butch Willis was basically somebody who's not that good of a singer performing a short a cappella song. All right, last song on the first side's by Unrest, whose band I am a fan of. The song I haven't heard before is called International Nautical Mile. So the performers, we've got Mark Robinson, Bridget Cross, and Phil Krauth. And so I have hopes that this might be the best song on this record. All right, that was a minute of some fun jangle pop by Unrest, and I definitely would say that was the best song on side 1 of Teen Beat 100. Now we're going to go to side 2. So the bands are the Shoe Trees. I'll have to brush off the dust before we play it. Bratmobile, who I've heard of. Sexual Milkshake. I've got big hopes for Sexual Milkshake. Cobalt and Los Marauders. So let's see. The Shoe Trees. What information do we have on the Shoe Trees? We have basically no information about them. So I'm going to listen to a song by them and tell you if I like it or not. All right, so the Shoe Trees, they were trying to sound like sort of kind of giving you like the childlike feel with like some children's instruments, but there was some violin as well. So looking it up, so there's a guy named Johnny Cohen in the band. And so apparently this Johnny Cohen guy put out a few records on Teen Beat as well, and a couple other guys. So next is Bratmobile. So they're a punk riot girl band from Olympia, Washington, more known for being on Kill Rock Stars and Lookout Records than Teen Beat. So this will probably be the punkiest song probably on the entire record. It's what I would expect. And the song's called There's No Other Way. So we got Allison Wolf, Aaron Smith, and Molly Newman. And this is actually a cover of a Blur song. All right, so I listened to that Bratmobile, There's No Other Way by Blur. Okay, I immediately recognized the song once they played it. They actually didn't play it as heavy punk rock style as Riot Girl style as I was expecting. I guess because they were appearing on a Teen Beat record. It wasn't as Riot Girly as I thought. So next we have Sexual Milkshake with the United States of Arousal. And so bass player is somebody named Phil Sweeney. Performers are K-Shake, El Mill, and Sexua. Formed in the late 80s in Harrisburg, Virginia, originally consisted of 3 members, Sexua, El Mill, and K-Shake. Their musical philosophy could best be summed up in a comment Greg Allen once tossed off, Tune Schmoon must just play. So, I think this is going to be completely shambolic. Okay, I really don't really know how to describe what I just listened to. It was pretty strange. Looking them up, they apparently had one full-length album and one EP. Full-length album called Sing Along in Hebrew, described as indie rock. Space Gnome and Other Hits. EP, which is described as art rock, garage rock. Okay, I guess. Hard to describe. Okay, the next band's called Cobalt. They're going to have a song called Saturday. Someone named Yasmin Kuhn. Apparently, she was in a band called Flying Saucer, and they disbanded. So they started a band called Cobalt, and they did one album and one single on the Queenie label. And apparently, this is it for them on Teen Beat. So I'm going to go listen to this song, Saturday, which happens to be the longest song on this record. So it might be kind of prog. All right, that was pretty epic. So Cobalt was pretty jangle poppy, so not dissimilar to Unrest or Tsunami. Really sort of dreamy female vocals, pretty low in the mix. 77 seconds, so it's a very long, proggy, epic song. And it kind of got cut off at the end, so I think it might have actually been a longer song originally. All right, so now we're to the final song on this record. It's called by a band called Los Marauders. The song is called Slicker Than Snot. The performers are Edward T. Action, Johnny Aztec, Nobody, and Slim Jim Fontaine. So maybe a rip-roaring rockabilly band that hails from Iowa City is how they're described. So maybe we got some psychobilly here. Maybe it's sort of like Reverend Horton Heat. Let's see. So that was pretty cool. That might have been my favorite song on the whole thing. Los Marauders, Slicker Than Snot. Minute and 2 seconds of like deconstructed rockabilly. I might actually stick them on a want list. So that and the Unrest song are probably my favorites that I heard. Bratmobile, I mean, There's No Other Way. The Blur song is obviously the best song that's on here. Probably the worst songs were AIDS Reading the Recipe to Baked Alaska, Butch Willis a cappella when he's not very good a cappella. Sexual Milkshake left me a little bit disappointed. They should have been cooler than they were. But anyway, there you go. 10 songs on 7 inches. There's the names of the band's Teen Beat records.